This conference will now be recorded.
Automatic payment program, in short APP. So far what we have done, we've created basic APP setup is done. Next one vendor payment we have done. Next one vendor single payment. And multiple payments. This both we have done yesterday. If you want to issue a single payment for one vendor account, what to do? If you want to issue multiple payments for same vendor account, in short one vendor account, what to do? We have seen in the last session. Now we will try to perform APP for multiple vendors at a time. If you have, let's say, multiple vendors at a time, and then how you are going to clear the multiple vendor invoices, how system will behave. Is this going to create all the vendors in single payment document, or are there going to be separate documents based on the vendor account? Let us try to verify. To do that, what we need to do, first let us verify how many open transactions we have. For that, FBL1N, vendor line item report, put your company code DEIN. I'm not giving any vendor account, I'm just giving a company code, and then I'll click on execute so that it will give you the output of all the vendors, whatever you have the outstanding. Click on execute. Currently, if you see, there are several outstandings that are appearing. Point number one, what I am going to do, I am going to run the APP for purchase number 2 and return number 2. I want to make sure that this purchase and this return are included together. If you see this is your 17,500, this is 2,300. And for these two transactions, currently payment method is blank. As we know, if there is no payment method in the transaction data, system is not going to take that as payment list. If the payment method is blank, this will go as exception list. We do not want this as exception list. From the first vendor account, I want these two things, and from the second vendor account, in the second vendor account, let us assume that we will take two more entries. I'll take these two entries. Let's say these two entries. Overall, 4 entries I'm going to create in APP from two vendors. 4 transactions to be included from two vendor accounts, and I don't want any exceptions to be created. First thing, for these 4 transactions, the payment method for certain things it is updated. For certain things, payment method is not updated. What I'll do, I'll click on these two things because I want to update payment method here. Currently you see it as blank. Select the invoices that you are planning to create the payment for. Tick or click on this mask change. Go to the option called payment method. Put your payment method 5. Put your payment method 5. Click on execute changes. Unable to change every document. This message normally comes. For certain documents, if payment method is already available, there is nothing to be changed. Out of 4 invoices or out of 4 documents, 2 documents are already having payment method here, and 2 documents are having blank. When you performed this change at mass level, system is giving this message, unable to change every document. This is because for these last 2 documents, payment method is already updated. That is the reason it is telling unable to change every document. Click on continue. And if you see, those two for which system is unable to change are highlighted with red color in the background. This means the 2 red highlighted things are not updated in the mask change. Let me refresh now. Go to list, click on refresh. If I click on refresh, you are able to see payment method 5 updated for invoice alone, but for credit memo, payment method 5 is not updated. For credit memo, payment method 5 is not updated. Select this, click on mask change again, input payment method 5, click on execute changes. Now let's refresh the report. Now if you see, payment method is updated for 2 invoices and 2 credit memos. Let us initiate the payment run and then check what kind of entry system is going to post and what will be the amount that system is proposing us. First vendor account number will be 100101. Second vendor account is 100590. These are the 2 accounts that we need to include in APP now. Let us create automatic payment program. For that, F110. Let me create fresh payment 01/07/2023. Run date. Identification, I'll put APP1. Click on parameters, first P. I don't want to input everything. Instead, I want to go to this copy parameters. From the previous APP, I want to take this. Click on continue. If you see this, when you copy all these parameters, system is automatically taking current date as this one, next date as second. This is happening because I don't want to save the data. If I go to parameters, copy, reference is this. Down below you have something called adjust date details. That is why it is adjusting the dates accordingly. Now this is your first vendor account. I do not want to give a range here. Instead, I want to select only the specific vendor accounts for which I need to initiate the payment. If you want to select all the vendors from your company code, normally you will be giving 1 and you will be giving all Z's here. 1 to Z represent all the vendor accounts, which is your alphabet number, numeric number, and then alphanumeric. Normally, we are not selecting like this. Instead, what we are going to do, we are going to select the respective 2 vendor accounts. This is your first vendor account, 100,101 and 100,590. Let me put 100,101 and 100,590. 100,590 is one vendor account. 100,101 is the other vendor account. After giving these 2 vendor accounts, click on continue. Save your parameters. Go to status. Click on proposal. Our intention is to make sure 4 vendor transactions will come as payment list and the remaining will go to exception list. Click on proposal. Start immediately. Enter proposal has been created. Let us display this proposal. If you display this proposal, nothing is coming in the payment list. Everything is gone inside the exception list because everything is red. There is nothing which is appearing as green. We need to understand why this is not appearing as green, why it has gone into exception list. To understand this, we need to depend on the payment log. Let's go to display proposal log. From the proposal log, if you see, you need to go through this log and then understand why this is not taken. It is telling none of the payment method 5 has been entered in master data or transaction. If you go up a little, this document number it has taken 17 all zeros 1, 17 all zeros and 19 all zeros 3 is also taken, but it is telling that no payment method is updated. But even though we have seen the payment method is available in the 2 transactions, 17 all zeros is there, 19 all zeros is also there, 17 all zeros, 19 all zeros, payment method is updated. Now let's go inside this. If you go to display proposal, you are able to see red, which is not according to your requirement. But even if you see here, it is giving you the data from only one vendor account, which is 100,101. But if you go back in your parameter, 100,590 vendor is also included. But for this vendor, nothing is coming as outstanding. If you look at this vendor account 100,590, you have outstandings in which you also have the payment method. Outstandings are also there, payment methods are also there, but still we do not know why it is not getting picked up. Let us verify the log, whether the log contains this vendor account or not. 100,590. 1 to all Z you have given, which means log includes that vendor account also. If I go to parameter, next date is 2/7/2023 is the due date. Let us verify what are the due dates here. If you look at the what are the due dates, the first two dates that we are talking about here is, first two things that we are talking about is having the due date is 2/7/2023. If you see here, net due date is 2/7/2023. In our automatic payment program, the next payment is on 2/7/2023, correct? In our automatic payment program, next payment is on 2/7/2023. According to this, system has detected this two documents which are due on 2/7/2023 can be paid in the next payment run also, because tomorrow also there is a payment run. These two can be paid tomorrow, not today. Because of that reason, it did not pick up in the current payment run. So what I will do, I am going to change the due dates for this two. Let me go to change mode. And if you see this, we are unable to change the due date here. This is because it's a credit memo. Let me go to invoice. If I go inside the invoice, here also I am not able to change the due date. Let me go back. Before I make the due date changes, let me delete the proposal that is created here. I want to come back, go to edit, proposal. I want to delete the proposal. Yes. And let us refresh this report. From the first vendor account, which is this 100,101, if I click on change, due date is we are able to edit the due date. I'll change the due date to 1/7/2023, so that system should allow us to pick this due date in today's payment run. For this credit memo, it is not allowing us to change. And what I am going to do, I am going to perform the proposal again. This time I am expecting those two transactions are also to be picked up, because the due date is now updated from 2nd July to 1st July. Let me click on proposal. Continue. Payment proposal has been created. Click on display proposal. If I click on display proposal, first one is coming, but out of the first one, your payment amount, if you see, is 15,200. From the first one, payment amount is 15,500, and the total amount that you are able to see is 21,680. If you look at 21,680, from where the 21,680 is coming? Let me execute. Now, if I do a subtotal based on the due date, One sec, let me 690. The subtotal is based on the due date. Let me remove the due date level subtotal. Let's refresh, and then we need to understand on what basis system is taking these amounts. For the 101,001, it has taken two invoices as payment list, which is your 15,200. If you double click on this 15,200, you will get to know the two documents that are included here. Those two documents are 19 all zeros to 17 all zeros. 19 all zeros to and 17 all zeros. These two documents are picked up because these two are having payment method. And straight away these two are coming as payment list. You can see this is coming as green color highlight, and the remaining is coming as red color list, which is outstanding to 21,680. To see why this 21,680 is coming, you just double click on this. If I double click on this, there are three document numbers which are appearing: 1501, 193, 171. So 1501, 193, 171. These three are coming as exception list because these three documents does not have any payment method. This is what is happening from the first vendor account. If you look at the second vendor, which is 1000590, for this 1000590, system did not pick up either invoice or credit memo. If you see in the proposal list, that vendor account is not appearing at all. That vendor account is not appearing at all. That what is the reason why it is not appearing? We need to verify now, because in your proposal, sorry, in your parameter, that vendor account is also part of it. 1000590 is also included, but from this vendor account nothing is coming in your proposal, right? You need to go back. Let us go to display proposal log, and you can also do finding here document number. What is this document number that we want to pay here? 17 all zeros 3 or 19 all zeros 12. You can copy this 19 all zeros 12, go to the log for the proposal, Control F, find, Control V. This is not giving any information related to this vendor. Okay, that vendor account is not coming. Even in the log, you are not able to see that invoice related information or for that vendor related information. So now it has become a little tricky, difficult part to understand why system did not pick up any outstanding from that vendor account. Let us open this. This vendor account is 1000590. What I am going to do, I am going to open business partner, BP, business partner search based on the BP number 1000590 is the vendor code. Open this vendor code, go to vendor role, which is FLVN00, FI vendor, go to company code segment. In company code segment, go to vendor payment transactions. If you see here in the vendor master data, there is no payment method updated. Let me go to change mode here. We will have to put payment method in master record, and then we will have to delete the proposal. We will have to redo the proposal to see if there is any change which is happening with this correction. refresh this report. One sec, the server is getting reconnected. Okay. Now in this business partner, what I am going to do, I am going to add payment method 5 here. If I go to payment method, currently this master record does not have any payment method. I'll put 5. I'll click on save. Now let me go to proposal. I'll come back. Currently, if you look at the existing proposal, in this existing proposal, it has picked up only a single vendor, even though we wanted to pick up 2 vendors. Our requirement was to make payment for 2 vendors, and in the proposal, you have given 2 vendors. But in your proposal output, you've got only a single vendor. The second vendor, which is 100590, is not getting picked up. So what we are going to do, we are going to delete this proposal. Go to edit, proposal, delete, continue, and let us rerun the proposal to make sure the second vendor is also picked up. Start immediately. Now let us display the proposal. If you display the proposal now, it is still the same. Second vendor account is not coming. It is still the same. Second vendor account is not coming. If you check this, let's open the transaction. Second one, 190012. This is the document number. Click on display. When you display the document, you are able to see payment method 5 is properly assigned. This is baseline date. In short, due date is 20/06/2023, which is already overdue. The due date is already over, but still system is not able to pick up this. Now, when these kind of things are happening, we need to understand why system is unable to pick up. And in this, you need to also verify whether the amount that is outstanding is negative or not. In this vendor account 100590, your current outstanding is negative only 205. Sometimes this may not get picked up if your outstanding is positive. If your vendor outstanding is positive, that may not get picked up in your APP, but here it is negative only, which means there is outstanding in this vendor account, but still system is not able to pick this transaction. Let us make sure if the vendor account is given properly there or not. I'll put 100590, go to proposal, delete this proposal. I'll go to parameter. I will input here this time. Now I'm giving here, which is 100590. Click on save. So it is telling there is something called overlap. Fine. What I will do, I will remove this one vendor account and I'll put the first vendor only, because we need to find out why this is not getting picked up. What is the reason? From this vendor account, outstandings are not coming up in your APP, because the transaction data contains payment method 5. Your vendor master data also contains payment method 5. It is supposed to pull this information into the automatic payment program. Let me click on save the proposal. Now execute proposal. Continue. Enter. Proposal has been created. Let us click on display proposal. If you see this display proposal, it is telling company code DEIN DEIN do not appear in proposal 1717/2023 APP1 correct. Now this is again one of the common messages that you receive even when you're practicing, sometimes in the real environment also. This may get a common error, or this may be possible error in different reasons. You need to go back. Now our intention or our target is to make sure this proposal, whatever is there, we are able to clear it. Now how do we know what do I need to do this? Let me go to the log. It is simply telling vendor is contained in proposal 17MAN2 no editing. If you see this, it is giving an error message which is talking about vendor 100590 DEIN is contained in proposal 17/2023 MAN2. This is representing this vendor account is already included in a proposal for payment run on 17/2023 with identification MAN2. This is what system is telling you the reason. Now, to understand this reason clearly, let's go to SE16N. There is a table which will tell you the blocked vendors for automatic payment program. Let me put REGUS. If you go to the table called REGUS, this table is talking about account blocked by payment proposal. What you need to do, you need to just give your company code DEIN, click on execute. If you do this, it will give you the vendor accounts which are blocked in the automatic payment program automatically. Before you perform automatic payment program, this is one of the reports that needs to be executed. Because if any vendor account which is already included in a payment run which is not completed, this vendor account will get locked or this vendor account will get blocked. Now, to say that, if you look at this one, when you try to click or when you try to display the proposal, it is giving you this message. It is telling there is nothing to be displayed in the proposal for this particular vendor. Now you do not know that this is one of the reasons. If the vendor is blocked in another payment run, it cannot be processed again. Either you need to delete that payment proposal or you need to complete that payment proposal to make sure that this vendor is picked up in another payment run. From automatic payment program, this is not coming. Point number 1. Point number 2. Whether this will get locked only for the automatic payment or for manual payment also, it will get locked. Let us verify manual payment F-53. Bank account, some amount, text, 100,590 is the vendor account. Continue. It is telling no open items were found. If you see this vendor account, the moment you try to click on process open item, you are able to see an error message which talks about no open items found. But if you see this 100,190 vendor account, you see this 100,590 vendor account, it has got 4 open items. The outstanding is 205. But still, when you try to process automatic payment program, it is not giving anything. When you try to process manual payment, it is straight away telling there is no open item found. Now, sometimes this is one of the error messages that you will receive and one of the support ticket that you will receive. One of the vendor account is not being included in the proposal list, or even if you try to make the payment manually, system is not able to show or system is not displaying any open transaction. This is because this vendor is already included in one of the payment runs. And how do you identify in which payment run this vendor is included? You need to remember this table REGUS, and this table you must inform to your interviewer in the interview. Okay, if you're talking about this support ticket, vendor account is not showing any outstanding in the manual payment, or vendor account is not part of your automatic payment program proposal. For this kind of reasons, you need to open this table called REGUS and just give your company code, click on execute. Whatever the vendor account that you see here, this vendor account is already locked or already blocked in this run date and this identification. Point number 1, you need to complete this run date identification payment. Point number 2, you need to delete the proposal from this run date and then identification. Clear? Either you need to complete the payment for that particular run date identification. Point number 2, you need to delete the proposal for that run date and then identification. First, what I will do, I will try to open this run date and then identification, for which what I'll do, from the automatic payment program, I'll open the list. This is what system is giving, 1/7/2023 MAN2. Enter. Here if you see, payment proposal has been created. If you try to display the proposal, this is what it is giving here. If you try to display the proposal, this vendor account is included in this proposal list. That is why it is not coming up there. But I want to pay this from the other payment run which I am executing today. I don't want this to be paid from this identification MAN2. What I will do, I'll go to edit, proposal. I will click on delete this proposal. I clicked on delete this proposal. Next one, immediately come back to the table. This account blocking table by automatic payment program. Earlier in the REGUS table, this vendor account is parked. Now we removed that proposal from this APP run. Let us click on refresh. If you click on refresh, it is removed. Because if you maintain the parameters, vendor account will not get locked. Vendor account will get locked only if you run the proposal. Clear? Your vendor account will be locked only if you run the proposal, not when you maintain the parameters. Now this is locked. Let us go to our payment run, which is APP1 for today's date. Our proposal is also already created, but in this proposal we were not getting any output because of the reason it was locked in the other parameter. Now the other parameter, whatever was maintained, we've removed it. Let me come back and then delete this proposal. Go to edit, click on proposal, delete. Now if I check the parameters, we are giving only one vendor account. Let me run the proposal. This time we are expecting the payment run to give the proposal list for this particular vendor. Go to status, click on proposal, continue, enter. If I go to display proposal, this time it is giving us the data whatever we are expecting. It is giving the data whatever we are expecting. Let me go back. I will delete this because our intention is to make sure payment for two vendor accounts. Go to parameter. This is one vendor account that we wanted to include. Second vendor account is 100-101. Click on execute. Save the parameters. Go to status. Save data. Now run the proposal. We are expecting payment proposal to be created for two vendor accounts. By default, system has to give us green list. Go to display proposal. If you go to display proposal, system has given list, but from this list, if you see, you have to look at the red lines, you have to look at the green lines. If you look at the red lines, there are two red lines for there are two line items for vendor 100-101. One is red, one is green. You need to understand why this is red, why this is green. This is because the line items for 21,680 does not include any payment method. They do not include any payment method. If you see, payment method is blank. Even if you see your vendor line item report, these transactions do not have any payment method. According to your parameter, payment method 5 must be there. Since in this vendor account, these three does not have any payment method, they are directly moved to exception list. If you want to include, you have to reallocate the payment method and then process the payment. But we do not want it. That is why from this vendor account only two are coming in green, which is correct as per the requirement. For the second vendor, if you see, our intention is to make only the first two document payment. Our intention is to make the first two document payment, one invoice, one credit memo. Invoice is for 125, credit memo is for 50. And invoice memo, credit memo sum is your 75. 125 minus 50 is 75. This vendor we are planning to make only 75 as payment, but system is taking 75 plus 125, total 205. This 125 we do not want to include in the automatic payment run. Sorry, this 130 we do not want. Like this, from every vendor or from several vendors, you may have a list which is to be included in the APP, which is not to be included in APP. If you have limited number you do not want to include in the APP, what you need to do is you have to go to change mode. Point number 1, go to edit proposal, continue, double click on the line which you want to block. 130 is what you want to block. Click on 2 times here or double click. It has got two invoices included here, one for 150, the other one for 120. The sum is 130. You want to block all this, click on this block all. If you click on block all, this will give you the pop-up asking you to select block reason. Select anything, either A or B, locked for payment or blocked for payment. Let me select B, block for payment. Continue. It is telling block B cannot be set in the payment proposal. Okay, it is not allowing you to select B. Try to select A, locked for payment. Click on continue. It is telling block key A cannot be set in payment proposal. It is telling this cannot be blocked. Save it. Let me select this and let me select this. This is how I am able to select it. I'll double click on this. Let me go to payment block. I'll click on B, blocked for payment. I'll click on continue. It is telling block cannot be set. Open, cancel this. Try to block again. Continue. We are unable to open this error message, whatever is coming up on the screen, but we do not know why it cannot be blocked from this proposal. You have to know why this cannot be blocked from this proposal. This is another support ticket that you can talk about. User is trying to block the certain payment or certain invoices from the edit proposal, but system is giving an error message, block key cannot be set in the proposal run. Let's open if it is allowing any other thing. You tried A, you tried B, it is not working. Let me try to put something I. This is also, it is not taking. Let me try to take star, skip account. Continue. It is not taking this one also. Then it is not clear why this is behaving like this, why system is not allowing us to block this. Let me go back. If I click on display proposal again, it is still appearing, but our intention is not to include this payment in the payment run. We want to cancel this. What we are trying to do, we are trying to open this. Let me go back to the change mode. Edit proposal, enter. These two lines for 130 we want to block. Double click on this. Double click on your invoice. Make sure you are able to block it. B, blocked for payment. Continue. It is not allowing. Come back. This is one point that we need to remember. Second point, what I will do, I'll go to vendor line item report. From the vendor line item report, let me select the two invoices or the two transactions which I want to create a block. I'll click on change mode for here. Let me try to put payment block. I'll try to block from the vendor line item report. Click on execute changes. It is telling unable to change every document. It is telling unable to change every document. And let me refresh again. This is giving the red highlight for third one because this is what I have selected. Let me select invoice now. KR. Go to change mode. Now if you see, it has got payment block B. And if you see the credit memo, it did not have any payment block. Let me put payment block for this and I'll click on save. We are able to put payment block manually for this also. What I'll do in my layout, let me try to add payment block. Payment block. I'll put this payment block next to payment method. One by one, all this you'll have to work and then you'll have to make sure you understand how system is behaving each functionality. Continue. Let me refresh. You will find two items are blocked. Now we are able to block from the vendor line item report. Next, what I will do, I will come out of this proposal. Now these are all the prerequisites that your user is supposed to do before they carry forward with the payment run. To delete the proposal, go to edit, proposal, delete. From here, click on proposal once again, continue. Proposal is created. Let us display the proposal. From this, if you see, it is working the way you wanted. 75 is coming as green, which is to be paid. 130 is coming as in red, which is not paid. So in short, from the two vendors, only one set is paid, the other set is unpaid. If you see the payment document number here, in this payment document number, whatever is good to go, whatever is clear for payment, will have the sequence, payment sequence number. This is your F110 followed by payment document number 1, F110 followed by payment document number 2. When you click on payment run, this field is updated by the actual payment document number. Okay, now once the payment proposal has been created, the two accounts that you have listed in the automatic payment program, until you complete this, if you look at REGUS, these two accounts will come as block. The moment proposal is created, until you complete that payment run or until you delete that proposal, the accounts that are included in your payment run are updated in the payment block, which means no payment transaction can be made in any other payment run or the manual payment run also. Clear? Any questions so far?
Ajay, can you please go to the payment proposal?
Yes.
Recently, you have blocked the one of the invoice from the vendor 10590.
Yes.
Manually, you have blocked it. Before that,
Correct.
both of them were green for 10590. My question is, if you unblock it, why they are not being grouped? 10590 invoices, or why they are not grouped under one bundle?
Because we have made a setting yesterday which talks about separate payment. If I go to FBZP, We have listed single payment for marked item. This is first point, and in the second point we are trying to make the payment for an invoice which contains a credit memo. If we look at the right side, inside the invoice number we have given invoice reference, which is the credit memo number. So according to this, what system will do, whenever you try to make this particular invoice, this invoice is always included with this credit memo. Okay, this credit memo amount is adjusted with this invoice and the balance amount is paid. Out of 17,500, system is deducting 2,300. The leftover amount it is trying to make the payment. For the first vendor, 15,200. If we double click on this 15,200, we can see what are the two invoices that are grouped. This is because if you see, invoice reference is updated here. So it has got an invoice reference called this number. So that is why wherever this invoice number is included, this invoice will always pick this credit memo to make sure the balance amount is paid or the invoice is auto adjusted with the credit memo. Clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now we've got two proposals that we are planning to make the payment. If you see, one set is exception, the other set is payment. For the second vendor also it is the same. When you have exception, when you have the payment list both, you do not have to do anything. Whatever is there in the proposal list, which means the payment list, in green highlight, you need to only pay attention on this list. Whatever is not in the green, in short whatever is in red, that will not contain any payment document number. If you see, this will come out as blank. Even if you proceed to make the payment, system is not going to create any payment document for this. In short, these two documents are not released for payment. So there are only two payments that are going to get created. One is your 15,200, the other one is 75. Let me go back. I'll try to create the payment run for this. Let me click on payment run, start immediately, continue, refresh. If you see this, two payment orders generated and two payments completed. Let us verify the payment log. If you check the payment log for the first vendor, payment is processed for 15,200 INR, $155.46. And for the second payment, the amount is 75 INR and $0.79. These are the two things that we were getting from the payment proposal. If you go back to the vendor outstanding report and if you try to refresh, the first two and the first two here will be disappeared. Let me go to list, click on refresh. Right, those two from the first vendor and the remaining two from the second vendor are now not appearing because these two are paid now. The moment your APP is completed, whatever the block that you have for REGUS account block, if you click on refresh here, this will get removed. Now your vendor accounts are automatically unblocked. Clear? This is about your multiple vendor accounts to include certain payments and to exclude certain payments. Next one, you have another function in this, in the automatic payment program. Instead of giving all this information, I don't want the system to select unwanted documents. Instead, I want to run the APP for selected vendor, selected document. For a selected vendor, for the selected document, if I want to run the APP, what we will do? Let us verify that now. If I go to vendor line item report, let me create one more invoice. I'll copy this invoice number. I'll punch one more invoice. For that, anything, let me go to FB01. In short, you want post with reference option. Click on post with reference. Put the source document, fiscal year, enter. I'll put, let's say, APP4. Period is not opened. 7. I'll remove this, and click on post. Invoice number 19, all zeros 13 is now posted. Let me refresh the report. List, refresh. 19, all zeros 3. Okay, not this one. APP4, something posted. In which vendor account this entry is posted? Go to display this document. Reference is APP4 100 101 23800. Document number 19, all zeros 13. Let me come back, run this report again. 19, all zeros 13, you are unable to see it here. 100 101. Execute. 3 items displayed, but why this is not coming? Toshiba, this is Toshiba only, but this document, if you see, you are unable to see it here. Open item as on 1/7/2023, and when this is booked, if you see, this is booked on 10/7/2023. Because this is a future document, that is why it is not appearing in your outstanding list. If you change the outstanding as on 10/7, this will be displayed. If you check as on 1st July, according to system, this entry is not posted only. According to system, it is posted on 10th July. That is why when you run the report for 1st July, it is not appearing. So when you are looking at the transactions, especially from the FI point of view, you need to pay attention on dates also. If you are ignoring the dates, you will not understand why entries are not reflecting. If you see, this is a simple logic. It is posted on 10/7/2023, but we are trying to look at the outstanding as on 1st July. 1st July, this entry is not posted only. What I'll do, while posting, we did a mistake. I took wrong invoice date. Let me take current date 01/07. APP number 5. Enter and then post. Now document number 14 is posted. If I refresh the report as on today, the document number 14 is now appearing. Document 14 you can see for 23,800. What I want now, I want to pay for this particular vendor only this invoice. Let's say you have something called exception APP processing, or emergency processing of automatic payment program. Because normally you will have scheduled payments for APP, which will be executed either on twice a week or on the selected date. But for emergency payments, you may be executing this payment run, or you may be releasing the payments on a daily basis for urgent payments. Let's assume that this is an urgent payment for which you need to initiate the payment. Instead of making a manual payment, let's say manual payments are not allowed in your organization. Every payment will have to be processed through APP. For this particular vendor, you want to run APP, which would generate payment only for this particular. I don't want any exceptions. I want only one payment list with single payment document number for this invoice. Let us copy this document number 19 all zeros 4. Let's go to APP now. status, APP number 2, go to proposal, click on copy proposal. Our vendor is 10101 from this vendor. Now you need to go to free selection. To apply filters on your APP, you must go to free selection. You have something called field name, you have something called exclude values. If you tick this, it will exclude whatever the field that you are selecting. If you don't select exclude, this will include whatever the value that you select. Let me open the field list. If you open the field list, you are able to see document number here. Now I want to filter, or I wanted to process only one particular document number. Select this and I'll put document number here. If I put this document number, if I select this exclude values, from that vendor account, it will not process this document number. Remaining things it will process. Instead, if I click on exclude, if I don't click on exclude, this will become inclusive. If this is inclusive, system is going to release the payment only for this particular invoice. Let us save this. We want system to give proposal only for that particular invoice. Let us run the proposal, continue, and display the proposal. If you click on display proposal, it has taken 23,800, but it is not in the proposal payment list, it is in the exception list. If you look at this, we are able to find payment method is coming out as blank. Payment method is coming as blank. That is the reason it is not picking. What we will do, let us go to invoice document. If you see here, there is no payment method. Let us pick this, go to change mode. We want to make sure this is processed with payment method 5. Continue. Once payment method is updated, delete the proposal because it is already created, which has gone inside the exception list. Remove this proposal. Let us run the proposal once again. Continue. Let's go to display proposal. If you go to display proposal, it is giving you 23,800, only one line. But if you see the vendor account, there are three more transactions. Total outstanding is 45,480. But since you have selected inclusive, it is selecting only this particular invoice. This kind of a thing you will be using exclusively when you are performing the testing. When you do testing for APP, in case if you make any corrections in APP, to do the testing, you will be checking or you will be performing testing in this way. You will process one particular document and you will initiate the APP only for that particular document, because you don't want to run APP for all the documents. Instead, you will perform it for a single document, for which this is what you are going to do. Free selection. People will ask you what is the functionality of a free selection, why you will use it. This is used either to include a particular condition or to exclude a particular condition. Now what I'll do, I'll select all, and for all this, let me change payment method to 5. And I'll save this. Unable to change every document. It has got on account payment, and this one it is not able to change. Let's open this. Payment method 5 is already here. Sorry. And for this kg, let's try to update the payment method. 5, and then save it. Now if I try to refresh, all the transactions are having payment method. The total outstanding is 45,480. What I'm going to do now, the different testing, I'll remove this proposal. I'll remove this proposal. I will also remove this. I will also remove this one. If I go to parameters now, this is the single vendor that I have given. When I run the proposal, I want system to pick the total amount, which is 45,480. I want system to pick 45,480 because I did not put any filter on the document number, either to include or to exclude. When there is no filter, when there is no condition, it has to pick the total amount. Let's come to APP, click on proposal, continue. Proposal is created. Let us display the proposal. It is supposed to take 45. It is taking 45,680. And your outstanding is 45,680. It is taking as usual. And but somewhere you are able to see 23,600 in the in the exception list. Let us double click on this to understand why this is an exception. 23,800, this one, document number is 19 all zeros 13. Come back. 19 all zeros 13. If you see 19 all zeros 13 is not there. Why it is not there? Because that 19 all zeros 13 is processed in the future date. Since it was processed on future date, it is going into the exception list. Now what I want this time, I want system to exclude one particular invoice number. I want system to exclude this document number 14. If system is excluding this document number 14 and if it is selecting the other documents, your payment amount is supposed to be 45,480 minus 23,800. 45,480 minus 23,800 should be payment amount. What I will do, I'll go back to the proposal list. Even when you're practicing, all these things you'll have to practically do when you're practicing. It's not about you create a payment program, you execute it, document is generated, you're not going to understand anything from APP. Delete the proposal first. Delete. Now I want to exclude values and I'll take this document number, which means if I click on exclude values, I don't want system to pay for this invoice. Apart from this invoice, I want system to pay for all other invoices in the vendor account. Save it. Now go to status, click on proposal. Enter, display proposal. If you see now, payment amount is 21,880. If you see it now, amount is 21,880. Earlier it was 45 something. Now system is trying to pay only 21,880. So it has taken 45,480 minus 23,800. Clear? Now if I try to include this condition, this is with exclusive condition. If I try to include this condition, before that let me delete the proposal. I'll go to free selection. I want to include only this particular one. Now system is going to process payment only for one invoice. Save this. Status, proposal, enter. Proposal is created. Our expectation is to get only one document. Now you are able to see only one document. Clear? The way you are changing the setting, how system is changing its behavior. You are able to figure out the changes, right? Now when your users are executing this in the real environment, they might execute in any way. Now straight away when somebody is telling that what are the errors that you are getting in your APP, these are all the possible things that you have to practice so that it will be easy for you to tell different kind of errors in your interview. I've seen a lot of people just googling APP errors in SAP. Right, but when you're talking about APP error in your interview, they are talking about the support tickets that you received on APP. So any error that you're talking about, always remember, you know the background of that error, why that error was created, and what did you do to resolve that error. For that to explain in a proper way, we must get those errors, we must resolve those errors. I'll come back. Now let me process this payment run. This payment I processed with free selection. One point that you need to remember here, if you look at the free selection, currently it is displaying only three fields: document number, currency, others. If I select others, it is asking document, vendor, customer master. But my intention is to add additional fields here. Is there any way that we can add additional field here in exception list? Any idea, anyone? Can we add any additional field in this list? Assuming your client has got a requirement that they want to exclude a particular document type also. Now we have seen how we can exclude a particular invoice number, but your client wants to include or exclude a particular document type. Let's say all the KG documents or any other specific document type, they do not want to include an APP. So they want to put a condition excluding this document type, process the other payment. In that case, you must come inside the free selection. I am inside the free selection. Now I want to restrict a particular document type or process only a particular document type payment. I don't find a document type here. Now as a user, as a client, I am sending an email to you as a consultant. Please include a document type also to be excluded or to be part of the exception list. Under free selection tab, what you are going to say? Are you going to say yes, it is possible, or you are going to say it is not possible?
It's possible, sir.
It is possible. So I want you to figure out how this is possible and then tell me in the tomorrow session.
Sir, in the below field, we'll select this document type or currency, whichever we want to exclude.
Which one?
So there are in below, in selection criteria, there are fields like field name values. There we'll select currency or document types, which we want to exclude, sir.
You mean here?
Yes, sir.
Let me create another payment. Let's say APP3 parameter. Copy the parameters. Where you want me to go here?
Sir, anywhere, sir. In field name, select
Here.
yes, for it and select field name, sir. Then document number. Sorry, click on others.
Okay. I'm on others.
Sir, I will check it, sir, and update you, sir.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, sir.
Right. Check this. Take this as your assignment and then let me know tomorrow. If you're unable to tell, I'll show how to do it in the tomorrow's session.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Clear, right? What to do? This is another support ticket that you can talk about in your interview. Any other questions on this? This will take a little more time for you to understand and for you to get good grip on this. because this APP is a mandatory topic in every interview that you attend. People will go to different levels. They'll ask you different complicated questions, different scenario based questions. If you understand all the simple scenarios at the beginning, you will be able to understand any complicated scenario. You can explain the process in a better way. No other go, unless and until you see practically on the system, it is not possible to understand, especially on APP. All right.
Sir,
Any
I
other
have a
questions?
two question related to interview for this topic.
Yes.
First is how to pay partial payment in a bulk. If we are processing around 1,000 payment in a one way, and how to stop, how to make 100 out of 1,000 means partial payment.
For partial payment, you will have to create a payment request.
Okay.
Okay, you need to create payment request. Based on the payment request, system is able to make the partial payment.
So how we do
That should
this?
be done.
Means,
Sorry, your voice is breaking.
so second question is how to block, this the bulk payment in same day, the same out of 1,000 we need to be block 100 payment. How to do same day? How to make the partial payment and how to block? And
Normally, what you will have to do whenever you run the proposal, before doing the proposal, you will be executing the outstanding report for the vendors.
right, sir.
Okay, when you look at the outstanding vendor for the vendor, you will be filtering based on the due date. Anything which
Right.
is beyond the due date is automatically skipped from your payment. It will by default go to your exception list, which is not paid. In case there is something which is in the proposal list or in the payment list, but you want to block it, you need to select the respective document numbers. Let's say I want to block this one and this one. You need to select those document numbers from the vendor line item report, point number one, and go to mass change. Click on block here, payment block.
Okay.
This is one point that you need to block. This is what is recommended to block. Otherwise, what you need to do from the edit proposal, you need to go to edit proposal. Now I am on display proposal. You need to open each vendor line item, and then you need to select, you need to click on block.
Okay.
This is one by
So
one
we need.
activity.
Okay. This is I think manual intervention we need to do.
This is manual intervention. So normally what you
See.
are supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
the moment you click on proposal, you will come
Okay.
to display proposal here.
Yes.
You'll come to display proposal. You can take this into Excel sheet,
Okay.
spreadsheet. You download this into Excel sheet, and from the Excel sheet you can put filter on the amounts or the documents that are being processed. If you look at the payment document number, wherever you have payment document number, that is your payment list, the items that are going to be paid. You will also get
Okay.
exception list. Exception list is with red. For red, the payment document number will be blank. Those things you will straight away delete from the Excel sheet because those are not going to be paid.
Okay.
From this payment list, wherever you have the payment document number, from this list you identify the transactions which you want to block. Clear? Once you
Yep.
identify the documents that you want to block, and from the same Excel sheet you put a filter. For example, APP1 is where we had multiple entries. If I go to display proposal, assuming this is what I wanted to do, what I'll do, I'll take this data into spreadsheet. Copy. From this list, so I can remove these two. I'll just put a filter. I am going to add document number. If you go inside, you need to check if you find a document number here or not. The invoice document number, you are unable to find it, correct?
Yeah.
Because this is grouped. Let us verify if we really do not have the invoice number in this layout. 15 120 75 130. There is no invoice number in this list. If there is no invoice number, it will be difficult for you to identify what is the document number to be blocked, correct?
Yes, sir.
Once you find the invoice number, what you will do, you will straight away come to payment document number. You will not do any action on the blank, because blank is something which is already in the exception. Blanks are already in exception. There is no payment document number. This is not going to be paid. Select other than blank, look at this, but here you are unable to get the invoice number. Next, what you do, go here. If you have to double click on each thing to get the invoice number, because these are grouped. This is grouped. As a result, to ungroup it, you have to go inside this. Go back and you go to edit, you go to proposal. From this, you click on proposal list. If you click on proposal list, continue. This is what you are getting in the proposal list. If I come down, this is exception, this is also exception. There is no payment, exclude this. Exception, no payment, exclude this. Come down. Now here you are able to see the document number, payment list.
Yes, sir.
So this is your invoice number, this is another invoice number. This list you can download, but this cannot be downloaded into Excel format. You need to take this into local file and then convert. You'll take this into text with the tabs, continue. While saving, you need to take, let's say, proposal list, proposal.xls you need to put. The extension will have to be kept as xls manually. Put this xls, click on generate. Allow. If you go this, here is your file proposal. On this pop-up, click on yes. This is how you will get the data. Delete the initial headers. And you have the heading here. Keep these headings, and then the remaining data you delete. And you must be having a little knowledge on Excel sheet to work on all these things.
Okay.
You have to remove all this. You have to show these things to your end user so that they will do it. Account ID. This is your payment method. Baseline it, whatever the data. There are a lot of blanks here in between also. Okay. So I'll put a filter here and I will select only the document numbers. These are the 4 document numbers that are included. From this document numbers, you will decide what to block and what action you want to take. This is one way.
Okay.
And the other way, you can go to the table, which is your REGUS is for account blocked by the automatic payment program. I think it has got stuck. One sec. What are the other two tables for APP, automatic payment program, apart from REGUS?
RUGUP, PAYR.
REGUP and REGUH.
RUGH.
Now everybody will tell these two tables, REGUP, REGUH, but you should specifically talk about these kind of tables, which most of the people do not talk. And you have to talk about this particular thing as one of the support ticket also. That your client is trying to perform the APP, one vendor account is not coming or not appearing, or when they try to process manual payment, vendor account is not appearing because it is blocked in one of the payment run in which they just created the proposal, they left it. Let me go to REGUH. Settlement data run on this. Actually we should have run before making the payment. What is this run date and then identification? 17 APP1 0107 2023 APP1. If you see this, you will be able to see the document numbers here. If you find the document number here, this represents the payment has been processed. If you don't find the document number here, this means payment is not processed. Point number 2, you need to remember based on the indicator. If you see the indicator with X, you find the indicator with X here. This X represents this is only proposal. X is the proposal data, blank is the payment data. In X, we are able to find 4 line items.
Yes, sir.
Right, and these 4 line items will give you the respective document number. If you go right side, somewhere there will be the document number for it. One sec, go right. If it is not there in this, you need to look in the other table, REGUP, REGUP, run date and then identification. Click on execute. Here is your document numbers. Clear? This is your proposal run. From here they can do it. And this report, this access, do we give to the end user?
No.
We don't give this to end user, but you can get a new Z report developed for this. You cannot give this to end user, but you can get a Z report developed for this. It's a simple query report which your ABAP consultant will do it. He will be able to deliver this within 30 minutes. They'll simply copy this table and they'll create a one Z report. In that Z report, they'll give you the input criteria according to your input. You will tell proposal list from automatic payment, and when you give there, the input screen may be run date and then identification, company code, vendor. Whatever the fields that you want, you will be giving the ABAP consultant in a simple functional specification. He will create a report and he'll include only those fields that you have given to them. And when they come to that particular Z report, they will only check or they will only see the selected fields that you have given. And when they click on execute on the output also, you can restrict. There is a big list of output here. Correct? There is a huge list of fields. You will select what information is needed on the output. You will be giving your ABAPer these field names. Include only these fields in the output. So your ABAP consultant will include only these fields, which means the same data from REGUP table, your user can also extract from a custom table, from a custom transaction, custom report, in short.
Yes.
Clear?
Yeah.
So this is also another support ticket that you talk about your APP. Now this kind of a support tickets, normally most of the people, unless somebody works, they will not be able to talk in your interviews. So the kind of examples that you're telling, the kind of approach that you're talking in your interview will create the impact. The other person can easily figure out whether you really have the proper knowledge or not. All right. Any other questions? Is this point clear? What you've asked?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right then. No questions. Let me stop the recording.